Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Tea Time with Mr. T and George. Now, when we start tea time, what do? We raise our teacups up. There's my teacup. Pinkies up because we are so very fancy, huh, George? And we come in for the clink. Well, I am happy that you are here. We have a fantastic book for you that I know that you are going to enjoy. Now, hello, Mr. T. Mrs. Duck, what's going on? I'm here to listen to my favorite book. Oh, cool, but I haven't announced what book it is. Oh, yes, but it's going to be great. I didn't say what book it was. Well, we're happy to have you, Mrs. Duck, and you, boys and girls. Now, as we're getting back to it, this story, I think you might have heard about it before. There is a movie as well. There's a cartoon and a live action one, so maybe you've seen. Oh, yeah, totally. I love that book. But I haven't said what book it is. Yeah, totally. Love it. Okay, everybody? All right, let me just, before we get interrupted again, this is Dumbo. Have you heard of Dumbo? You might find it on Disney. There's a Disney movie, a couple of them, about Dumbo. And so we're going to read through this. I think you're really going to like it. Did you say Dumbo? Yeah, did you say Dumbo? Yeah, we did. We're going to read Dumbo. Well, we're going to stay and listen. All right, sounds good. Okay, we're getting all kinds of people, George. We don't normally get this many guests, but that's all right. Maybe they heard of Dumbo. Wait a second. Did you just say Dumbo? Granny and Red, you guys want to stay too? Why, yes, of course. We love this story. All right, go ahead and have a seat with everybody else. We're packing up on that side. If anybody else comes, we're going to have to put them on that side, huh, George? Okay, well, Dumbo. Dumbo is... Hello, 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 hello. Are you reading Dumbo? Yes, we are reading Dumbo. Would you like to stay, Mrs. Fox? And you, Bixby? I'd love to. All right, how about go over there with Mrs. Fox? There you go, right over there. Watch out. You guys got your spots? Okay, good. Now, Super Monkey and H.R. Rough and Tough. And let me guess, you guys want to listen to Dumbo also? Oh, yes, of course. All right. We would love to, Mr. T. And they're off. Okay, let's start the story. What do you say before we get interrupted anymore? All right, this is Dumbo. I hope you enjoy it, boys and girls. Dumbo. This one's written by Calliope Glass, illustrated by Dominic Carolla and Ryan Feltman. Once upon a time, a ragged little circus rolled into a ragged little town. The circus folk unpacked their gear and got to work. Their cheerful racket echoed as the striped tents went up. And at the heart of the hubbub were a happy mama elephant and her brand new baby. But there was something unusual about this little one. The baby's big ears made it hard for him to see. The circus children, Millie and Joe, tried to teach him how to blow his ears off his face, but the little elephant accidentally snorted a feather right into his trunk. Achoo! Into the air he sailed, and for a moment it almost looked as though he were flying. But then down to the ground he tumbled. Soon the baby appeared in the circus for the very first time. Out he went with his giant ears hidden. But a feathered hat caught his eye and, achoo! Everyone could see the little elephant's giant ears. Dumbo, Dumbo, the crowd chanted, laughing. They began to throw things at the poor little creature. Now that's not cool. Dumbo's mama rushed in to save her baby, and in all the panic, the circus tent gave out. See, she's knocking over the pole here, so the tent's starting to fall. But they were making fun of her baby, right? You don't do that. The tent was ruined. The stands were ruined. The circus was nearly ruined. And Dumbo's mama was locked up. And it says, Mad Elephant. The next day, Dumbo's mama was taken away. Dumbo was alone. But he wasn't all alone. That night, Millie and Joe came to visit him. It wasn't the same as having his mama, but it was good to have friends, especially friends who brought peanuts and feathers. And once again, achoo! Dumbo was flying, really and truly flying. Finally, the circus was ready again. The tent was patched, the bleachers were rebuilt, and Dumbo was about to make history. Maybe if he became a circus star, he could get his mama back. Clutching his feather, Dumbo soared through the tent. And just like that, he was a star. Soon, Dumbo's ragged little circus was just as famous as he was. Too famous for a ragged little town, at least according to the big-time circus man, V.A. Vanderveer. Before Dumbo and the children knew it, their ragged little circus had been bought by the big-time circus man. And they were off to New York, to Dreamland. The new tent was bigger, the new crowds were bigger, and the new city was much bigger. It made Dumbo feel even smaller. He gave a frightened little cry. And out into the night, someone heard that cry. Someone who recognized it. Someone who cried back, "Mama!" Dumbo's mama was also in Dreamland, but locked up tight. And yet, even through the thick bars, Dumbo felt her love warming him. Vanderveer refused to let Dumbo's mama go. He thought Dumbo was better off without a mama. But Dumbo didn't agree, and neither did the circus folk. The very next night, they staged a breakout. Dumbo sailed through the sky. On the ground, his mama bumped along in a stolen truck. And soon, Dumbo and his mama were reunited. Dumbo's friends understood the circus was no place for elephants, or any wild animals for that matter. They helped Dumbo and his mama find a new home in the jungle. And so at last, and for good, the very special elephant had his mama. And his mama lived happily, together, and free. What did you think about that story? So there were some parts that got a little bit scary and sad, huh? But it all worked out in the end for good old Dumbo and Mama. Now, I really hope you enjoyed that story. Now I have a couple questions for you, or we have some questions for you. Number one, who are the characters in that story? And what was the setting, or one of the settings? Because it happened in different places, didn't it? What was the setting? And finally, what happened at the beginning of the story? And what happened in the middle of the story? And what about at the end of that story? All right, boys and girls. Well, thank you very much for joining George and I and Mrs. Duck and Mr. Fox and Mrs. Fox and Red and Granny and HR Ruffin Stuff and Super Monkey and Barry Allen and Gonga and Bigsby Wolf and let's see, did we get everyone? I think that was everyone. Thank you for joining us. For tea time with Mr. T, we'll bring our teacups back up and we'll put our pinkies up because we are so very fancy. And we're gonna come in for the clink. Bye-bye, boys and girls. We'll see you next time. Wait! Mrs. Duck, what is it? You didn't say me, Mr. T. Did I forget Mrs. Duck? Yes, you did, Mr. T. Mrs. Duck, sorry, I was trying to get everybody's name. If I did forget you, I truly apologize. Well, I guess I'll forgive you. All right. Now, do you want to tell them? Yes. Put our cups up, pinkies out, because we are so very fancy, and we're going to come in for the clink. Goodbye, boys and girls.